In other words, the question, if you're sitting at home right now worried about your job or your business, whatever you worry about, what does the future hold? And that's why this is probably the most important program. See, most people just watch the stock market. That's all they watch. They don't know much about home prices in their neighborhood. And that's not good enough. So our guest today is George Gammon. He takes the ultra complex and puts it in pictures. Even if you don't understand them at first, just keep tracking with them, because you're going to see what 99.99% of the world's population will never see.
What are you seeing in the future, George?
What I want to stress, and I'll explain this just momentarily, but what I really want to stress to the viewer is that if you're able to just start to understand the macroeconomic picture, and it doesn't need to be complex. Listen, the reason you think it's complex is because all these economists and academics, they use all this jargon and technical terms, but if you just break it down into simple English, it's actually very easy for people to understand. And if they understand it, they're going to be able to make much better decisions for themselves and their family in the future for their finances. So whether it's me or anyone else, make sure that you're trying to really pay attention to what's going on. Let's just say that you've been saving your money, you've been working hard, you've been doing all the right things, you've got a little nest egg saved up, and you go to the bank and you're like, oh my gosh, they're only giving me 0.5 interest or 0 or who knows what it is. You can't even see the interest rates, they're so small nowadays. So you say, okay, where can I go to get a little bit higher rate of return? But I still want to be safe. It's got to be safe. So then you might look at a product like a money market mutual fund or a money market fund. And then you look at this, you say, well, that's safe. All my buddies are doing it. It's just like a bank account, but I get maybe a 1.5% return. Well, what the average person doesn't realize is they're taking exponentially more risk just to get that 1% additional return. So how is that? Because the way that the money market mutual fund gets the additional return is they take your hard-earned savings and money and they put it into the repo market, or they put it into the commercial paper market, which is basically funding for corporations, the same type of thing. So the question then becomes that person that's just watching Monday Night Football and just enjoying life, just, with the white picket fence, the 2 kids, the golden retriever, they don't care about what's going on with the plumbing. They don't care about the dollar swaps. But does that person really want to lend their hard-earned savings to Deutsche Bank, to HSBC, some of these banks that could be crumbling as we speak, or to put things into other terms like more America-centric corporate terms? Would that individual want their money being lent to American Airlines right now, or Boeing right now, where every single time you turn on CNBC or the TV, you see that they're asking for another bailout because they're about to go bust? That's how this macro, and that's how the cash flow and the plumbing that Robert's talking about, that's how, just one way that it can affect the everyday person.
So if our banks are going bust right now, what does that mean?
So it's not just the banks, it's the government, it's the private sector, it's our entire economy, because these debt cycles run in courses of 75 to 100 years. I'm going back to Ray Dalio. Right now, we're at the top of a 75 to 100 year long-term debt cycle. So the only way from here is down. And Robert, you call this in a lot of your books, and you kind of predicted this and had the foresight to see this coming. But when you get to the top of one of these debt cycles, the only thing the government can do, well, there's 4 ways out of it. Number 1, they can choose austerity, which very few governments do, and that's just tightening the belt, spending less. Everyone feels the pain. Think of the deflation or depression we had in the 1930s. Or they restructure the debt. Well, it's not likely we're going to do that with China. It's not likely we're going to do that with the big banks because they're the creditors. Or they could just default, say, hey, we're not paying you. Or what most governments do is they choose money printing. This is creating inflation to bail out all the people who have the debt, whether it's governments, whether it's individuals. So once you get debt to a certain level, you've got to, well, you don't have to, but most governments choose to inflate it away. So what does that mean for the average person? Well, if the government is going to try to create inflation, meaning the cost of goods and services going up, what you want to do is you want to make sure that you're positioned for that. So as an example, if you just own your own home, you've got to make sure that you've got a 30-year fixed rate mortgage, because if they try to create inflation, if interest rates go up, then your interest rate is going to go up unless it's fixed. And what happens when you're a debtor and they create inflation, you're going to have the opportunity to pay the loan back, your mortgage, with cheaper devalued dollars. So the way they can think about that is if they borrow, let's say $100,000, the rate of interest means that they're paying the bank back with increased purchasing power because you've got principal plus interest. So what happens in inflation, though, is inflation allows the borrower to pay the debt back with less purchasing power. So if your rate of interest, let's say, is 1% or 3%, we'll call it, but if inflation goes up to 5-6%, the delta between those two is a transfer of purchasing power from the bank to the individual homeowner. And I think a lot of people listening to this probably have a mortgage, if not on a rental property, on their own home. And I think that's the very first thing they can do to be proactive. Also, gold, silver, Bitcoin, you talk about that all the time.
We're sitting on this coronavirus, which is changing everything. What is your crystal ball? What are you seeing? Not your crystal ball because you're studying it and you're seeing all the charts and the numbers. What are we looking at?
From an economic standpoint, I think the biggest question is, do we have deflation or inflation? And that's kind of the debate going back and forth. And for the average person, I think they just have to look at the entire economy as supply and demand. So the supply is how much stuff do we produce? How much goods and services. Demand is how much money we have, or our willingness or our access to credit to go out and buy the stuff. So as most people know, we're in lockdown, depending on what state you live in, what city. So there's a lot less demand. There's a lot less of the goods and services that are actually being purchased, right? So that decreases the demand equation. That's what most people get fixated on. So they think, okay, well, we have to have prices going down, deflation. But they forget about the supply side of the equation, because if the people can't go out to produce goods and services, well, the supply will go down fast as well. So then the question becomes, what's going down faster, demand or supply? Well, then you look at the supply chains that have been disrupted coming into the United States. If you go to Walmart, Target, Home Depot, the majority of the stuff you see on the shelves was produced outside of the United States. So if those supply chains get disrupted, that means less supply. Then what happens is, usually going back to Dalio's example of long-term debt cycles, you get social unrest. And I hate to say that, but that's just the reality of the situation if you look at history. And typically the way the politicians take care of social unrest is through helicopter money. So whether you want to call it MMT, UBI, it doesn't matter. It's basically the government spending money into the real economy, getting into the back pockets of the average Joe and Jane. We could see a situation in the future where the Fed is actually doing it. They're not technically allowed to do it right now, but they've been breaking all of the rules. So if there's more money in the pocket of the average person, that means there's more demand, even though they're sitting at home not going to work, for those goods and services in the economy that don't require debt. That's key, Kim, because people see deflation and inflation as just this, it's binary, right? It's either one or the other, but it's actually very nuanced. So if there's less debt in the system, that means asset prices could go down, or cars, anything that most people buy using debt, okay, the prices of those go down, but anything people buy, or most goods and services people buy on a daily basis that don't require debt, such as groceries, those prices typically go up. And if I saw on CNBC the other day that in a lot of markets around the United States, food prices are up as high as 25%.
It's already started.
So you can see this happening in real life.
Yeah, what's happening is because of the COVID or whatever they call it, the meat packing companies are shutting down.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
so there's now shortages of meat. But
So a great
George is
example of supply decreasing faster than demand.
but what's happening is and the Fed is pumping trillions, 2.2 trillion into the economy. So you have a decreasing supply, increased liquidity, and that's why the shelves are empty for pork and beef and all those things. And Arab Spring, which I don't forget when that happened, but the real rioting wasn't about Muslimism or Christians and all this. Arab Spring was because the mom and pop couldn't afford to go to the store.
Food
Prices went so
you got it.
high. And I think that's what you're saying is when people get hungry or they can't afford food, that's when the social situation gets worse.
Hey, hi everybody. Thank you so much, Sinjo. And first, I thank you all for spending this evening with us. It's a beautiful evening in Singapore. We have so many people from Tokyo, Joseph. We have, from Dubai, from India, from Thailand, from Malaysia. Dr. Phil's got a big team from India. So all over. Do we have anybody from New Zealand or Bhutan or somewhere, in Thailand and Taiwan? So welcome all. Well, we've just, like Sinjo say, we just came out from like a phase 1. So I hope you guys come out, fitter, slimmer, more energized and ready to rock and roll. And this is our family, which are, going on a very exciting journey. And tonight, we want to share with you what is going on in the world. The world, they are worried, they are frightened, they don't know what's happening. I mean, nobody has seen this coming for the last 100 years. Nobody have used, chemical sanitizer, alcohol sanitizer like this, not on human, not on dogs even, right? So, but we know one thing for sure, that there is going to be a new normal. What used to happen the last 50 years, the last 30 years, the last 100 years is never going to come back again. Technology is just suddenly just leapfrog over. So those who doesn't change may be left behind. But we have a better way, and we're inviting all of you here. We want to share with you what is this better way.
The world is changing faster than ever. What used to take decades is now taking years or even months.
What you see right now is the illusion that people have had for many decades about the workplace being this secure place to work the rest of your life.
For the first time in the history of our nation, our children will not do as well as us.
We've seen our friends get laid off. We've been laid off. We've had our pay cut.
People are overworked and underpaid. They seem to have less time and less freedom. They live under constant pressure. This is going to be forced. And so even if your employer loves you, they may have to cut you. There's something wrong. That on Monday morning, the heart attack rate increases by 35%. Technology is accelerating. Job security is declining. Just doesn't seem like the old models of making a living are as reliable as they used to be. Every aspect of our lives, there's a better way out there, but we're still doing it the old way. We live in the greatest country on the planet, and there are a lot of people sitting around complaining and being cynical.
Like everyone's whining about this old model, and I'm like, why don't you leave it? Look at all this over here. Look at all this opportunity.
Since so much of our lives revolve around our work and the way we make our living, many people are thinking, there just has to be a better way. The biggest challenge facing our world today is not making money, is what are we going to do with all the displaced, unemployed people?
People are afraid that they're going to make the wrong decision. People are afraid of the unknown. People are afraid that maybe I don't have the skills.
Hey, sports fans, industrial age is over. It's dead. It's dying. That's why going to school to get a job is an obsolete idea. A steady paycheck is an industrial age idea. It's the search for answers that has brought us here together today. My name is Eric Worre, and for almost 30 years I've been an entrepreneur, struggling at times, but ultimately succeeding. As a best-selling author, speaker, and business owner, I've spent my entire career helping millions of people around the world to become entrepreneurs. And I believe strongly that there is, in fact, a better way when it comes to how we make a living. The career landscape has changed dramatically, and many are still working in a model that is completely out of date. What worked for previous generations isn't working as well for people today. In this film, we're going to explore 3 important questions. First, what's really going on in our working world today? Second, in this new economy, is it better to become an entrepreneur, or is it safer to work for someone else? And third, if a person decides to become an entrepreneur and start their own business, how can they do it without taking on massive risk? To help in this journey, I've brought together some of the greatest experts and thought leaders in the field of entrepreneurship to share the real facts with you. My intention is to give you new information that will allow you to make choices that are not limited by an old, outdated model. Let's start by understanding what's going on in our working world today.
On a global basis, everything is being turned upside down because of the rapidly advancing technologies. They are eliminating many jobs, and we have been left with many people not prepared for the jobs that exist.
Most people have experienced financial pressures that I think are probably greater than they have been in the past.
Today, if you're going to control your future, the 40-40 plan is gone, where you can graduate from college and get a job and work for 40 hours a week for 40 years. That day is gone.
The basis for their life is worry. I'm worried, maybe I'll get fired. I'm worried maybe my company will go out of business. I'm worried I can't keep spinning the plates on paying the bills. I'm worried about how do I send my kids to college. I'm worried, what if the transmission of my car breaks? That's 2 or 3. I can't fix it. People live in a sea of worry, and it eats at them.
It's time to look in the mirror and say, it's not the economy, it's my economy. It's my little world of where I am. I need to improve. I'm not going to wait for the economy to come back, because frankly, the economy is doing great in this country.
So here's the question. What do you think would give you the best chance to move up and get to the top 10%, the top 5%, the top 1% or beyond? In my opinion, and in the opinion of many, many experts, the answer is to become an entrepreneur, to become your own boss.
The other status symbol really increasingly is lifestyle. I mean, people can own their own business, maybe even work out of their house. People admire that. Like, gosh, I wish I could do that.
The spirit of the entrepreneur is to be a risk taker and to be resourceful and unstoppable, and to have a vision of yourself beyond where you are and not willing to settle for life as it is.
Think about the great entrepreneurs. They're visionary. They have heart. They're willing to do today what others won't so they can do tomorrow what others can't.
Personally, I don't think of the new economy, the old economy. I create my own economy. The entrepreneur's in control. I decide what the economy is going to be like.
If people decide to become an entrepreneur and work for themselves, they have some traditional options, but they're riskier than you might think.
Any kind of a retail business, retail build-outs is extremely expensive. Even just these small little yogurt stores where they're putting little yogurt machines and you get all the different flavors, you're spending $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 to open a yogurt shop.
People that start their own business, they spend a lot of money, they spend a lot of time, a lot of effort to get things started. And the more you invest on the upfront, the harder you typically work at it.
What if there was a way that you had all the proven aspects, the comfort aspects, and you could still control your own life? What if there was both? In other words, you didn't have to create everything from scratch. You didn't have to be a super leader. All you had to do, what if there was a proven product already? You didn't have to create the product. And there's a proven system already, proven training already. Everything except an employer. That was the only thing that you didn't have. Do you think more people would be open to working for themselves in that environment? In our search for a better way to make a living, we've come to the conclusion that becoming an entrepreneur is actually safer than being an employee. And through our look at the entrepreneurial options, one particular path kept coming up from expert after expert. And I think most people will find it surprising, because it's certainly a non-traditional business model. That model is for people to start their own business and become an entrepreneur through the creation of a network marketing business. Some people call it direct selling because the product is being sold directly from the manufacturer to the end consumer, cutting out the middleman. Other people call it multi-level marketing, or MLM, because there are multiple levels of commissions paid. The most common term today is network marketing, because network marketing best describes using a large group of independent distributors, independent entrepreneurs, to move a product or service more efficiently.
I would go into network marketing like that. I think if it didn't exist, we should invent it. It is that good.
I think direct selling is a great way to do business today. It's very easy to get into that industry, and you can be self-employed, be, in effect, an entrepreneur.
When we see multi-billionaires adding network marketing companies to their portfolio of companies, that would be a clue. When we see people who are very famous authors and very famous business people endorsing the industry, that would be a clue.
These network marketing companies aren't $50 million companies. They're billions and billions of dollars. They lead the stock market. They're major companies.
A traditional company will spend up to 50% of their total revenue on marketing. Network marketing companies use a different approach. Instead of having all that extensive marketing expense, they utilize a network of independent distributors to do the marketing for them. Now, why do they do this? First, because word-of-mouth advertising is so much more effective today than traditional media advertising. Second, some products need to be explained or demonstrated, and an independent salesperson can do that more effectively than an ad campaign. Third, it's completely efficient. The company only pays for the marketing of their product if a sale happens and not before. Imagine if Amazon allowed you to become an independent distributor and paid out 40% of its revenue to that distributor group. All you had to do as a distributor was recommend a product. And if a person bought it on Amazon, Amazon would take care of all the logistics and you'd get paid for bringing the customer. Now imagine you got paid for every purchase that customer made for the rest of their lives. Well, Amazon doesn't offer this option, but network marketing companies do.
85% of all buying decisions in our society are made as a result of word of mouth or reputation.
We're recommending things to each other all the time. You know, who's your dentist? Who's your doctor? Who's your lawyer? What detergent, are you using? What legal system are you using? What product are you using? We're talking to each other about the things that we love anyway.
As a matter of fact, network marketing can educate consumers probably better than any other form of marketing. It certainly can do better than advertising because advertising usually has a certain hype to it and you can only get limited information. So, network marketing trumps advertising.
The advantage of network marketing is the ease of entry, the low risk, and the low startup cost, because almost everything else has very high risk. You can get in for a minimal investment. You're buying into a system that's already been proven, products or services that have been proven to work.
The keys to network marketing is providing an opportunity for the masses to get involved, providing an opportunity for the average person who doesn't have the resources to start their own business.
With the growth of the direct selling industry over the last 10, 15, 20 years, we've seen a broader understanding of the channel. We have seen more and more people getting involved in the business. So our penetration in the marketplace has increased, and thus the understanding in the marketplace of who we are has increased. And we've seen non-direct selling companies look at the direct selling model and say, something's going on there. People are making money. Companies are being profitable, individuals are being motivated, product is being delivered to market. Maybe we should explore this.
Everyone I know in network marketing has been doing that since the 50s. They go to work when they want to go to work. They stop working when they want to take time with their children to have a leisurely breakfast and discuss issues and drive them to school. They go back to work when they get home, wherever they're working out of.
The biggest thing that I've seen is people that have become much happier in their life.
If they have a choice between working a job for the next 10 years or working a network marketing business for the next 10 years, the result of working the network marketing business will be better.
How many people are involved? Approximately 16 million Americans and 96 million people around the world are currently participating in network marketing. And in a recent poll, 82% of those people report a good, very good, or excellent experience with network marketing. So people are happy. Another issue that's been true in the past that is no longer true now is people used to be in network marketing loaded up with products that they couldn't sell, and they ended up a loser. They ended up with a bunch of product in their garage. They ended up with a bunch of products sitting in their kitchen shelves or whatever, and they thought they could sell it, and then they weren't willing to or able to sell it, and they ended up with a bunch of stuff, and they were bitter about it. Yet when some people want to take a look at network marketing, they say, well, those people, they're just using the product, and they aren't earning an income, so they must be a loser. They're not a loser. They're a happy customer. That's the vast majority of people that are involved in network marketing. Now, a smaller percentage of those people decide to go build a business. They earn $300 a month, $500 a month, $1,000, $2,000. That's the bulk of earnings in network marketing. And then there's the few that really decide to take it serious, really decide to build a large network, really work to make that network very, very productive, and those people make huge amounts of money, and there's no cap. Life's too short to spend it living someone else's dream instead of your own. It's too short to spend it living at a fraction of your potential. Can being an entrepreneur be a challenge at times? Sure. But here's what you get in exchange. It can be yours. Something that you built, something that you created, something that you made happen. This balloon represents your dream. It represents entrepreneurship. My wish for all of you is that you would reach out and grab it. The choice is up to you.
So, wow, what do you guys think? You know, truly from this time, a lot of people are worried, right? I have friends that are really worried. They've got quite a lot of friends got like a 50% pay cut, 20% pay cut, and they're actually having unpaid leave, and some of them are retrenched. So my heart goes up to them. And this Better Way started like at least 16, 18, 20 years ago, where the company started during the Japanese crisis, exactly to help the people going through financial crisis where no one will help them. Nobody can help them because that the world goes this way. During a time where there are more suicide cases in Japan than road accident. Can you imagine that? So these are matter of the hearts where it keeps them awake. They are worried. Are we going through that? Yes, some of them not now, but in 2 to 3 to 5 years and 10 years time, if you take a look, will your job there? You know, whatever you're studying, a professor to tell me that whatever they're studying, it may be obsolete. Now, watching the show, there is a full-time, advisor to U.S. president saying that network marketing is the way to go. They are authors, they are mentor for entrepreneurs. They're successful, they're economists, they're mentors saying that this is the way to go. People are healthier, they're happier, they have more choice, they sleep better, they have more time. What else? The only thing is that they don't have a choice. I wish somebody had shown me this before, because I used to go to sleep waking up with cold sweat. My business went down. I didn't know. We are trying to be an entrepreneur, but I guess I'm on the wrong side. I should have found this better way, where 8 banks, if you owe 8 banks overdraft, they're sending you letters, lawyer's letter. I think it's very difficult for anybody to fall asleep, right? Now that was 9-10 over years ago, and that was when I was in this table trying to figure out what to do with it. Today, same time, on this table, I'm talking globally to the world and sharing this better way. Now, I want to invite a very special guest. He is he's an FCMA, he's a CFO for an IT startup company. He's an author, he's a coach, but he has a side of the story that I am going to let him share with you himself. Can you help me welcome Peter Fleming?
Hi, everyone.
We happen to live in the same house.
Yeah, what a coincidence, huh? So, good evening, everyone. I just wanted to, some of you have heard my story before. It's also bound up with Judy's as well. So I've got a few charts just to show you. Okay, so my name is Peter Fleming. I was born in England a long time ago, in my 60s now, and I spent about 23 years there. Qualified as part of the CIMA, Chartered Institute of Management Accountants, and I immediately went to work in Dubai, and I spent some time there, and then came to Singapore in 1986. So that was a long time ago, and still here. Trial period is kind of over. Now I'm going to start my showing my testimonial, my health testimonial first. Some of you have heard this before, but I've not shown pictures before. So if you're a bit squeamish and you're not used to seeing the result of operations, this is a time to look away. So I had a problem for 30 years where I had a series of nose issues where I can't breathe, and I'm very, I couldn't taste, couldn't smell, and I found later on that the problem, or during that time, that the problem was nasal polyps. So some of you know what nasal polyps are. It's like having a nose blocked the whole time. So sorry to show you this, but so this ranges from normal to obstructive. Mine was very much in the obstructive range, and as a result, you feel like you've got a cold the whole time. Your nose is blocked, everything is blocked, really no sensitivity, tired all the time, and just, it's miserable. So the next one is the one that's going to be a bit squeamish, so look away now if you're not. So what comes out when you have these polyps removed is something like this. So you can see there the measure is about 2 inches. This is not mine, this is just a stock photo. But all kinds of stuff. Looks a bit like kind of alien. But that is the size of a golf ball inside your nasal cavity. So most people are not aware that nasal cavity is very huge, huge enough to get something the size of a golf ball in there. And it can even be much bigger than that. But that's what mine were. So I had 4 separate operations. The first one was in Dubai when I lived there. The second was in my hometown in the UK, a place called Doncaster. Third one was in good old Gleneagles in Singapore. And the fourth was also in Gleneagles. So today, I don't know if any of you know this guy. This is probably the most famous ENT surgeon in Singapore. He drives a very nice car today, and I think I pay for most of it. His follow-up consultations were $500 for just a visit. Sometimes you just take a look, give you, kind of pat on the head, and send you on your way, and that's $500 on. So he's the ENT surgeon for Lee Kuan Yew, if that's of interest. So I had to do this every day. I had to get something like this, just to breathe through a bit through my nose to flush the nasal passages. So, like permanent sinusitis. No smell, no taste, as I mentioned. Tired all the time, having a permanent cold. So the 4 operations, the hospital, the follow-ups, all of that stuff, in today's costs would be well over $100,000. Back then, there were, £8,000, $15,000. The 4 operations over a number of years. And of course, today, or rather 9 years ago, we got a machine, SD 501 actually, not this one, but this machine we took on at a time when we were also in the water business. So we knew a little bit about water, but when Bernard, our sponsor, shared with us this machine, we thought it's a bit fanciful, frankly. A very expensive machine. We thought he'd been kind of ripped off. And he was trying to tell us that actually there's a business around it. We thought that's crazy. No one's going to go for this. But anyway, because he's a pal, we gave it a try. And we would go driving over to his house in Panjang, right? A number of times, and just to collect the water. Came back, and after, I'm going to say 2 weeks, I woke up one day and I could breathe through my nose for the first time in 30 years. So it was a very strange experience, and we'd experienced other benefits at that time that we had expected, or were told to expect, like more energy, sleeping better, things like that. But never expected any impact on this long-standing issue of mine. So next day, also could breathe. So I said to Judy, I said, hey, you don't think it's the water, do you? She said, don't think so. It seems a bit strange. But anyway, so that was pretty much a turning point. So we got the machine, and we shared with 2 or 3 people. Judy shared with 2 or 3 people initially. Those 2 or 3 became about 50. Then we shared with a 4th person, and in 6 months we became a 6A. So 100 people bought this machine, much to our surprise. And being an accountant, I said, hang on, we've made about $80,000 in just these short few months. Maybe this is a business we should spend more time on, because we were just doing it, any old how back then. We didn't know what we were doing. This is another called side effect. So before we got the machine, this is how I looked in 2010. So I was about 50 then, I suppose. Yeah, about 51 or something. And well, you can see how I look now, but this was a recent photo. People say this looks about 10 years younger. So I should look 10 years older, but obviously 10 years younger. So the water's definitely been a great benefit to me. Judy and I both, neither of us have been to the hospital or the doctors for the last 9 years. 9 years, never been at all, not once. So how much is the machine worth, do you think? Yeah, priceless, really priceless.
Yeah,
so just journey on just to resume the journey of our business growth. From there, of course, we went to become 682, 6822, etc. Went through all the ranks. We sold through our team, which is you all. We've been selling machines in about 30 countries by now. 30 countries. So it's really a global business. Probably, I don't know, tens of millions of dollars of sales. So it's been really quite a journey. Most of you know Judy and her story, but from my perspective as an accountant, I really see this as just a no-brainer ROI. So anyone who's also, and you husbands as well, who have maybe not been supporting your wife that much, now's a good time to climb on board and give her all the support in the Enagic business. It's really a truly sustainable and profitable business, and anyone who is on this call, probably 90% of you already know that. That message is really for the other 10%. So with that, I think, again, how much is the business worth, do you think? Priceless. So with that, I'll end my testimony, pass it back to Judy.
Go to the clinic with him, it was like incredible, very expensive, usually comes out like $1,000, but it's really nice to see your partner, your family members, that they don't suffer, they don't sleep with a snore anymore or suddenly jot up because there's not enough oxygen. You almost like a sleep apnea, you just can't breathe and you wake up suddenly with a jot, right? So those that suffer from a nasal problem will understand that. So like what we're talking about, really no-brainer. So the accountant has told me to go full swing in it. So I'm agreeing with my husband, right? Now our next guest, wow, this guy, wow, he's more incredible. He's got like a couple of live food cafe, raw food. He helps people, gets them back their hormone, anti-aging. He's a cancer consultant coach. Wow, he is none other than our Dr. Phil from KL. Dr. Phil, where are you? Can we invite you to share your journey?
Okay, I'm here.
Ah, there you are.
Okay, well, it's nice to see so many people here today. I'm going to start by sharing some slides about, I think many here that I've met has been wondering what I'm doing in this business. Perhaps it's time that I shed some light as to what I was doing before and all that. Can everybody hear me okay, or do I have to speak louder? Okay. I'm going to start by sharing some slides about some of the previous things I was doing before. And you probably find it quite unusual. Okay. So, hang on a minute. Can everybody see that? Can everybody see that? Okay, very good. So, this story has never been told before. I'm going to do a 100-meter sprint tonight. Certain details will have to be left out unless Judy agrees to give me more time, but that's all I can do with a 100-meter sprint. So, where do we start? This was in the 80s, okay? And this was my first career as a structural engineer, okay? And the main work at that time was looking into pioneering innovations, okay? And you must be wondering what kind of innovations that we were looking at. Let me show you some photographs to give an idea. I had a facility, a huge facility that covers almost 10 acres, okay? And at that time, I employ about anything up to 100 or more people in the facility. And you must be wondering what we are doing there. Well, at that time, most of my associations were with, if you look at the top right-hand picture, you find a familiar face in Malaysian politics. That's Dr. Mahathir that came to visit us at the facility at that time. And if you look at the other picture on the top left-hand corner, was the mayor of Cottbus, a city in Germany, where we were about to take over an airfield facility that's about 800 acres. If you look at the top bottom left corner is Professor Ale, which is a Nobel Prize laureate. I was there to discuss some scientific matters with him in Paris in his apartment. And if you look at the last picture on the bottom right-hand corner was our meeting room with our management team at that time. So moving on, what were we doing? If you look at the top left-hand picture, you see me on the left side sitting in a cockpit of an airship. If you don't know what an airship is, it's actually like a balloon that is being steered with propulsion. So these were, and if you look at the other picture, which is on the bottom left corner, is one of the scientists in Romania that we were working together with. And if you look at the picture on the bottom right corner is an airship, and that picture was taken at the facility that was in the first photograph. We built Malaysia's first airship, and we flew it there. Okay, so looking at, some of you may be the first time looking at an airship, but those were some of the things that I was associated with in aviation and advanced composite materials. We were involved in global landmarks. Some of you here would recognize the top left-hand corner, which is the Formula One Sepang. And that was one of our turnkey solutions that we created. It won many international awards in the US. If you look at the top right-hand corner, is actually the special project which we were part of, the 10th city in Mina. That is, if you are Muslim, you will know where Mina is. And this is this project covers hectares and hectares of structures that were specially produced to be fireproof. If you look at the bottom picture, that is also a very well-known structure that won international awards in the US, which is the Sarawak Outdoor Stadium. So these were some of the things that I did in Malaysia and around the world. High-tech solutions, pioneering innovative solutions. And then eventually, we went from very advanced materials to structures, and eventually there was nothing much more to conquer. And even with all that, I decided that what was interesting then was to look into life sciences. So guess what I did? I went back to study. So, second hobby career in anti-aging doctor and cancer coach. I did some of my qualifications in India, New Zealand, Malaysia, and so on and forth. And the work ethic then, or now, is primum non care, which basically means first do no harm. So, you want to know who I am? This is who I am now. I'm a board-certified anti-aging specialist and cancer coach, amongst other things. But today, I'm a 682-2 with a Kangen business franchise that spans many countries. But my journey on living well continues. However, despite all that, I believe Kangen is the most worthwhile business for most people pursuing freedom and success. I'm going to show you a few more slides. A lot of people in network business likes to have the glamour of being an influencer, have the power to influence so many lives and be a top leader. But they must not forget that it is also about health, about life, and about time. I'm going to illustrate by showing you some advice or tips. We are all familiar with Jack Ma. He's a familiar guy. He's a very famous guy. And he says that the future is in independent thinking. The old education doesn't work anymore. The new education system must look into independent thinking, creativity, empathy, and teamwork. Okay? And guess what? The Kangen business, if you look at it carefully, has all these 4 properties embedded in the system if you were to do the business correctly. These are tips from Jack Ma. Let me give you some of my own tips, and they are very easy to remember. Tonight we had 2 P's sharing. I'm going to give you 4 P's for the future. Prerequisites, purpose, perceptions, and perspectives. And to be a successful Kangen leader, I don't mean just ranking. Ranking can be achieved without all of this. But if you want to be a successful leader, you need all these 4. Okay? let's look at wealth freedom. You know, we look at financial independence as the first step. As Eric Worre or somebody else said, there is more to life than working till they die. Or was it Warren Buffett? I believe I can say that I've achieved financial independence by a reasonable margin. Okay, a lot of people I know here knows a little bit about where I come from, but they are very curious about what I'm doing in Kangen business. This is one of my where I live in, or one of my residents in Malaysia. Okay, and it consists of about 10,000 square feet built out space with a nice garden. I would like to invite my team to come and visit sometime, you know, after the lockdown is over. Some of the lifestyle experiences. On the left was a trip to Mr. Oshiro's birthday and a visit to Okinawa. And I had the opportunity to take a little yacht with some friends in Okinawa. On the right, you see a picture of myself with Guruji Ravi Shankar. A lot of you here are familiar with him. Okay, I had visits to Tibet, visits to Norway, other life experiences, Sipadan, and of course our famous king of the fruits, durian, which a lot of my Indian team has experienced and found it quite palatable. So what is wealth without health? Everybody knows that. I don't need to explain. But it is a deceptively simple freedom, like, for example, the energy to get up in the morning, the ability to enjoy a walk, the strength to carry my grandson. And for those who are into workouts, to bench 80 kilos at the gym. Okay. For some of you who are wondering what is the meaning of 80 kilos at the gym, is to bench your own weight. Okay. So future-proofing our awareness is by choice, not by accident. And all of you know that the choice for wellness starts with hydration. Okay. So let me share a little tip with you today. A lot of you face challenges with introducing Kangen to their prospects. Okay. And if you want to make it easier to introduce, you know, there's a favorite phrase by Daniel Dimakali that documentation beats conversation. I'm sure most of you here have heard of that phrase. Documentation beats conversation. I'm now telling you that philosophy beats mindset alone. Okay? If you have a philosophy like I do with hydration, nutrition, and detoxification, okay, you go one step, or minimum one step, maybe two steps beyond everybody else talking about products. You have a philosophy that goes beyond introducing a medical device. So remember this: people do not do what you do, but why you do it. This is why we have these Monday night meetings, right? Zoom sessions. You are telling people why you do it, not what you do. So every time you talk to a prospect, remember that people will follow why you do and not what you do. So my philosophy for everybody is the same. Doesn't matter how old you are, where you come from. It's hydration, nutrition, and detoxification. Hydration comes first before anything else. I'm going to quickly flip through. This was me in the cockpit of an airship at 100 kilos. And on the right side is me standing next to the American ambassador during one of our events together at 75 kilos. I don't know whether you all can see the difference, but can you all see the difference in the face? So I'm now going to introduce to you a new phrase. People talk about financial freedom, time freedom, everything else. I'm going to introduce a new term called vocational freedom. It may not be for everybody, but we're talking about meaning and purpose. So the point of freedom is not to sit at home and watch TV every day, you know. It's to realize your calling. The purpose in life is more important than anything else. So vocational freedom is something that you may want to ponder over. I'm not going to dwell on that now. So my vocational freedom is about healing people, helping people to heal. If you walk into any hospital in the world, they'll tell you that autoimmunity are all incurable. Okay, I have clinical data showing you that I've cured people with autoimmunity. But tonight, I'm not going to dwell on that. So I'm going to go through. But then again, these aren't the most important freedoms, you know, the financial and everything else. What is really the most important is actually time freedom. Because it is the one thing that no amount of money or effort will buy back for you. So, success can be measured by how much life is filled in each moment. Time with family. What about time with friends? The top picture is a dinner with some friends in my Kuching home, and the bottom picture is dinner with friends with my Kuala Lumpur home. So why these perspectives? Because after going through, I've been a serial entrepreneur all my life. Aviation, high technology, construction, engineering, food and beverage. Most of you here know that I used to do restaurants with Kangen machines, and it was even mentioned in the Friends magazine. Health and wellness. I've even at one time, a long time ago, gone into insurance. But having gone through all that and having achieved reasonable success in everything, I can tell you that the Kangen business franchise is my strong recommendation for anybody who wants to achieve these freedoms, especially if they value time. So, let me tell you a little bit about my Kangen journey that went way back in 2013, if I remember correctly. Okay. Janet introduced Judy Fleming to me, and we met in Kuala Lumpur. And I remember at that time emailing Judy and saying that, you know, I'm highly motivated. I don't need motivational talk. Just give me the scientific facts. So, to cut through, that was a picture that I think was in 2013 when I had a photo with Janet in one of the Enagic events. And if you look at 2 years later, we look at, or 3 years later, 2016, that photograph was the grand opening of Enagic India. Many of those in that photograph are here tonight. And then we look at 2018, more photographs with Cynthia Briganti and others. And this year, 2020, you look at Shaji, I think he's here tonight, Raji, Bernard, and myself. But that's just a quick snapshot. Let me show you a few more photographs if I have the time. This was in 2015. Judy was there. Okay, so you all remember Kyoko, remember Bob Gridelli, Daniel DeMacali. They were all at the Anaheim event. Okay, and that was quite memorable. And that was the real beginning, or just before that in 2014 was the real beginning, because I went from a 6A to a 6A2 within 12 months. And until today, I still don't have my 6A certificate or award. I only have my 6A2 and beyond. And it was during that same time that after Anaheim, I went to visit Cuba. And Arthur is not here tonight, but that photo on the right is with Arthur. And he is our first Kangen distributor living in Havana, Cuba. So any of you visiting Cuba wants to have Kangen water, he's probably the right guy to talk to. Okay. Now, a lot of my Indian teams knows that I have a special link to Guruji Ravi Shankar. And I bring, a lot of my distributors have asked me to arrange for personal audience with him to get his blessings. And I've been doing that over the years. You know, I've not shown all the photographs, but this was, if you look at these photos, you can see Pranab, which is our 6A, who, you know, probably here tonight. These are in 2017 with Kars and Akemi. 2017, building a sustainable energetic business. Remember, Judy? Same event. Another subsequent visit to our Guruji, who is a great supporter of Kangen. This is in 2017 in Energic Dubai, when Kars was there to arrange the opening. India event with Janet, James, and many others, including Peter Fleming. I don't know whether you guys remember this, but the photograph clearly shows your face there. 2018, Singapore Energic. 2018 with Romy Vendera in India. I think that was Mumbai. Okay. More trips to the ashram where Guruji Ravi Shankar is. And this is Rajiv with his first Mercedes. And he gave me a ride to Delhi airport. That was a photograph. And then we have 2018 at the Gardens with Bernard Chan and everybody else. This was a dinner that we had with, you know, you can see a lot of familiar faces, including two of our branch managers there, Kent, Singapore, and Manda in Bangalore, with all the other leaders, of course. This is a photo taken during the same night, but if you notice, that the young chap sitting on the left-hand side is my son Sterling, who is also an Energic 6A ranking. If you look at next to him is my daughter-in-law Isabel, and she is very much involved in the Enagic business as well. So you can see that not only do I recommend to everybody, the whole family is in it too now. So all the familiar faces, I'm going to quickly go through this. Now this one is, if you look on the left-hand side, is a picture of Chef Suresh Tambi. He is the executive chef of the IHG Group, the Intercontinental Hotel Group. And he has an SD501 and he drinks Kangen for 8 months and lost 18 kilos. You can look at this photograph before and after. If you visit him in Mumbai, you will see him like the picture on the right side in the grey suit. And of course, my forays into Bangladesh, Shanghai. This is a photograph taken with Arima-san, our president for global sales. I was rather impressed with his presentation that it is not all corporate talk, but actually answers many of the objections that we face on a normal basis. Again, India. And this is Auckland. David, the guy with the glasses, is here tonight. Okay, and the lady in the middle is Anesta. I think it's too late for her and she's not here. But she is the one who signed up an 18-star diamond from a supplement MLM company. Okay. So, next. This is very recent. That's a few months ago before COVID-19. And look at this photograph here. Okay, we have Pusparaj taking a selfie of a durian, and Janet supporting him, of course, with the whole fruit. And then on that same occasion, we have Bernard enjoying durians at the restaurant table as well. So, now, I'm not going to show you any more photographs, but just to highlight, if you look at the dates, okay, that the amount of traveling that I've done on, in the name of Kangen and Enagic business is that a typical schedule is that I literally taking flights every week. Okay. So what are we talking about in terms of freedom? Are we looking at financial freedom, time freedom, freedom of choice? It's all there. But the most important to remember is to play the limitless game. Don't give up. Play to be the last one standing. Very important to remember that. So, we've seen a lot of people with a lot of wealth and little time. There are others with a lot of time but little wealth. Or you can choose Kangen to have the best of both. What do you think? So, I'm going to end by saying my appreciation to everybody that has mentored me in the past. A special mention for Janet and James. I know Janet is here. I don't know whether James is here. But they were rather instrumental in encouraging me to be in the limitless game. So, I think I may have taken up a bit more time than I'm allocated. I'm just going to stop there now. And something interesting, that you may not know is that I actually met Peter Fleming before I met Judy Fleming. And that was in my previous career. So, before I leave, I have one question for everybody here. I do not think that anybody in this Zoom conference at the moment has more machines than I have, has more Kangen machines than I have. You know why? Because I have a machine in my Kuching house, I have a machine in my kitchen in my KL house, I have a machine in every bathroom. I have NS bars, all fitted. So I'm putting a challenge to everybody here who has more Kangen machine, who owns more Kangen machines than I do in their home. Hands up. Anyone want to take the challenge? What about Shaji? Okay. Now the slides I've shown tonight has one purpose. And the purpose is this. That many of you here may be in this business for the financial freedom, okay? I'm here to help my team achieve financial freedom. So sometimes I tell Kangen distributors, I tell my team members, it's okay if you refuse to do the business because it makes no difference to me. But it will make a lot of difference to you if I can mentor you to the next level. Well, I can't hear anybody say anything, but I hope that take-home message is clear enough that you must take ownership for your energetic business. Take ownership of your Kangen business. Okay? So I'm going to hand over back to Judy.
Hey, thank you, Dr. Phil. Can we give him a round of applause? Thank you. What incredible journey. But I've seen, Dr. Phil, that of what you do, chatting with you, I think you found your purpose and you found your passion. You certainly have impacted more life, transformed more life, and changed more families with the Enagic Health and Business that truly changed their lifestyle and their life forever. So I think you found your purpose.
Everybody should think about their vocational freedom. Look at what you want to do rather than what you have to do.
Exactly. So he has time freedom. He can travel where. So it's really nice to meet you, not in Malaysia, but in US, in Japan, in Thailand, in India, and everywhere. So the last time we were touring and having fun with his team, or in Taj Mahal. So that again is part of our perks. Thank you so much. But because of time, we're gonna invite Jit Chung, our 6A 23 going to 24, to share with us what is this new and better way. Jit Chung.
Hi everyone. Okay, you all have heard so much about from Peter and Dr. Phil that this Enagic business is so good, and then why is it so good? So now I'm giving you a brief overview of Enagic compensation plan. Okay, this is what Enagic always what do you call that? They always stress on this true health. What is true health? Is physically healthy, financially healthy, and mentally healthy, and then you will enjoy the peace. Okay. Now this is the what do you call that? Global distributorship for Enagic, when all you need is to buy a Kangen machine and one-time sign-up fee of Singapore dollar $10.70, and there's no money qualification. You don't have to keep selling machines. You can take 3 years or 30 years or 3 months or 3 weeks, 3 days to sell a machine. And there's no stocking fee, that meaning that you don't have the cash flow issue. So if somebody wants to buy a Kangen machine from you, you just process the paperwork, and another customer want to buy 10 or 100, you just need to handle the paperwork for them, and then so that is what we distributor really love. And there's no annual renewal fee. This is my 8 years in this business, and I have never paid any renewal fee because we are not required to pay. And cumulative sales, meaning that let's say you have sold 3 machines this year, and you decided to go for a vacation. So the next year when you come back, you sell another machine that is number 4th machine. Let's say if while you're away, these 3 people who have bought the machine from you, they all sold 2 machines each in this year. So total you have 9 machines now. So when you sold your another machine, that will be your 9 plus 1, that will be your 10 machines. So this is different from the other network marketing businesses, whereby the moment you stop, your whatever you have done slides back to 0 and go to restart. That is the unique, one of the unique features of Enagic compensation plan. And international sponsoring, meaning that you can sell this machine worldwide, and you have 40 officers in 23 countries to support you. Okay, this is the 8-point commission system, whereby when you sold a machine, Enagic pays out 8-point commission. And what are these? So when you buy your first machine, it's your first purchase, it's not your sales. You don't get any commission. When you sold your first machine, the first person who buy from you is your direct sales. He will be your 1A. A stands for agent, meaning you get 1 point from the sales. So let's say we take K8 for example. When you sold a K8, you will receive a $430 as 1 point commission from the company. So when this person sold 1 unit of K8 to this person, that will be your indirect sales. You will receive $430 also. So as it go down from here, you will as you get deeper, you get lesser and lesser until it is out of your 8 points. Second direct sales will be your 1A also. You need to have 2 1A to rank up to the next rank. For these sales, when this person buy a machine from you, you get $430 from the company. So let's say when you have your third direct sales, you will be ranked up as 2A. And meaning that this sales, you will receive 2 points from this sales. If this person bought a K from you, you will receive $430 times 2, you will receive 860. So this is your 2A business center. Whatever sales sold in this line, you will receive 2 points. As it gets deeper, finally you will receive 1 point and then out of 8 points. So the company can't give out commission forever. They limit to 8 points. And this, what I see is a very good part of it, that the company won't overpay. So financially, they are very stable. Okay, direct plus indirect sales, and there's no time limit to this. All this add up will be your group sales. Total, when you have 10 group sales, you just need to do a direct sales to rank up to 3A. Without doing a direct sales, no matter you have 20, 30 group sales, you will still stay at 2A rank. So when you have sales as 3A, you receive 3 points from these sales. That is $430 times 3 points. That will be 1,290. All the sales in this line will be 3 points for you. Is one, whether it's direct or indirect, that is $1,290 if all these people buy K8. From 10 to 20, Many people think that, wow, I got to sell 20 units, it's very hard to go to 4A, right? But this is teamwork. You need to build a team. If you have these 10 people, each person sell one machine, that means you got 10 more machine, right? Plus the existing 10 machine, you have 20. Is it easy? So it's a teamwork. Inspire them, guide them, coach them, and teach them how to do the business. When you have 20 group sales, you do a direct sales, that will be your 4A, you will receive 4 points. That is $430 times 4 equals to 1,720. Now you see, as you go, your volume grows, you will receive more and more commission because now you are better. So when you have 50 group sales, do a direct sales, you will rank up as 5A. 5A, you will receive $430 times 5 points, that will be 2,150. So same goes to the indirect sales. 50 to 100, you may think again it's hard, but just get the 50 people to sell one machine each. So you build people, you will build your team faster. If you do it alone, it takes you a long time. I have been in this Enagic business for 8 years. If I'm going to do it all on my own, let's say now I have 100 groups direct sales, I can really rank up as 6A. But with the team effort, I can go to 6A 4-3. What is 6A 4-3 and 6A 2-3? Later I'll tell you more. So when you have 100 group sales, you just need to clock a direct sales. You go to 6A. 6A meaning that you will receive 6 points from the sales. So you will receive $430 times 6 points. That will be $2,580. So this is your 6A center. All these indirect sales you will receive 2,580, but as it gets deeper, you receive 6 point, 5 point, 4 point, 3 point, 2 point, 1 point, and then eventually out of your 8 point, you don't get any commission. From here onwards, all your direct sales will be 6A, and Enagic doesn't limit you on the width you are going to build. You can go all the way, it's infinity. When you rank up at 6A, meaning that you have 100 group sales, anything out of any machine sold out of your 8 points, you don't receive commission, but the company will pay you educational bonus. Each machine for KA and ST501, the flagship model of Enagic, you'll receive $256. This is the Enagic career path. When you are 6A, you'll receive one-time title bonus of $3,000 in US dollars. So when two of your team member, different line, when they become 6A, 101 machine, you will rank up as 6A2, the company will pay you US dollars 6,000. So help to build these people, and eventually they go to 6A2, you will rank up as 6A22. That is what Dr. Phil's current rank. He's paid 12,000 US dollars. So as you work further, and there's no time limit for you to work on this business, just stay in this business as long as you can, because it's a cumulative sales. So when two of your team member goes to 6A2, you will rank up at 6A23. The company will pay you US $25,000 in US one time, but every month you will receive 5,000 US dollars, and this is based on your performance. If you sell, your team sold more, and when the global sales has increased, you will receive more. So when your team, meaning that vice versa, your group sales is lesser, you will receive lesser also. So as you go, this is my current rank, 6A4-3. When you go higher, like Judy, she's 6A4-4, she received 50,000 US dollars one time, but every month she received $10,000 from the company. Of course, this is performance based also. So currently there's I think the highest in this company are the 6A2-6. And these people, look at the amount they are earning. Imagine US $20,000 a month. What kind of job or business can you make? Can you work on to receive such money? and we are just talking about the bonuses, and we are not talking about the commission. So overview here, 6A at the bottom left, you need 101 machine sales to become 6A. To go to 6A2, you need to have 2 separate lines to become 6A. To go to the next rank, 6A22, you need to develop your team, build your team, your 2 downline to become 6A2, you become 6A22. So to become 6A23, this is the milestone whereby most distributors are looking at. Just help to build your team up. With that, I end my business plan.
Of what Kangen, this company Kangen is doing, I've been working with this company, working from home, what they're doing in order to be able to help people have healthier homes, healthier lives, healthier bodies. It's unbelievable. Have you heard the news? What this machine does? It's incredible. Have you heard the news? They are exploding around the world right now. Everybody is joining because they provide the ability for a person to be able to work from home and help people at the same time. Have you heard the news? Yeah, I'm drinking this toxic water. What am I doing? I'm just absolutely destroying my body with this toxic water. It's so stupid. I mean, I would view that little machine as an ATM machine. You want to put an ATM machine in your house? This is the ability to be able to put an ATM machine in your house and help other people.
So you hear from the man himself, Eric Worre, as you saw him just now in the earlier Rise video, the entrepreneur that was talking about, and also affirming about our machine. That it is actually, it's not just a drink, a water machine in the kitchen, but it's also an ATM, your own personal ATM machine in your home. And what can you ask for? And just now you hear from both Peter and from Dr. Phil. Wow, it's so interesting. I never looked up any person's nostril before. That's the first time. There's always a first time for anything, right? And also for Dr. Phil, his very, very interesting journey, how he started. And I learned so many new words from him, so many new phrases. He was talking about vocational freedom. He's doing what you want to do rather than doing what you have to do. I thought that was really, really very, really mind-boggling, right? It really give you the clarity of what you need to do with your life, especially in a time and season like this. And he described himself as a serial entrepreneur. Wow, the first time I heard that as well.